So yeah, touch wood, touch wood. We should be streaming now, Andy. Do you want to give a top line?
Yes, indeed. So Miami was amazing. To start with, just for a bit of humour, our Airbnb was not particularly good, and it certainly wasn't in the best area, as I'm sure if Antoine joins us, he'll tell us. But it was good. The team were all together. The event itself was really good. I think it wasn't as busy as last year. We had Dan helping out on the stand with his daughter. And for those of you who don't know, Dan he's involved in some metaverse stuff. He knows Domingo really well. He'd come to support Joke and the rest of the projects. He was a brilliant asset, very funny man, genuine guy. And he was there last year, and he said, it had not been as busy this year. There wasn't as many stands, there wasn't as many people, but the market has been down. Having said that, it was still really, really, really good. We met lots of different people from lots of different companies. A lot of passing traffic still. We didn't really stop talking to people on the whole, which was really good. Remembering everybody we talked to is one of the challenges. There was a lot of QR codes scanned and cards handed around. Top line, I'm sure Simon will go into a little bit more detail on a couple of bits. After the first day, there was an event, and Simon and Jorge ended up talking to Anthony, one of the co-founders of Ethereum. They had him for an hour. That was really, really good. I think Simon and Jorge got some great insights from him. Whilst they were talking to him, I got chatting to another guy who runs a Web3 agency, he's really good friends with him. He was involved in lots of the crypto projects, really liked what we were doing. He was also involved as an investor in a comedy NFT project that is no longer around, but there's a lot of the comedians still wanting to do things. So we are going to be talking to Anthony. We are going to be talking to this other guy, David, over the other comedy stuff. So just those two, it was worth it just for those two. It was brilliant. It was really, really good. Simon got chatting to a guy who was head of blockchain from MasterCard. For some very strange reason, he really liked it. He kept coming over to the stand all the time, and he kept bringing over his team to introduce them to us, for us to tell them what we were doing. And he just seemed to really like what we were doing. Hopefully we're having a meeting with him. Again, get some insights, build our connections, how some of these people we might, work with, it remains to be seen, but the great connections, and they really liked what we were doing with Joke and some of the other projects. We met another guy who's involved in kind of marketing, NFTs, crypto. He was a really smart young guy. We met him on the last day in Miami. We had a meeting with him. He's involved in AI and all kinds of back-end stuff, so we're talking to him about some possibilities. Got on really well, not just for Joke, but all the other things as well. He'd also been given funding through some Polygon Launchpad stuff, and he knows several of the projects that have, and he reckons we're ripe for that. So we're going to have further conversations with him and Domingo about trying to raise some funding through that, which would fit really well since we will relaunch on Polygon. Met another guy who bought Simon and I quite a lot of mojitos and shared his what steak was it, Simon, he had? It was amazing.
His tomahawk.
His tomahawk steak that was huge. Got on really well with this guy. He was introduced to us through other people that we'd met there. And this guy's building out wallet integration and rewards programs and all kinds of stuff, but in a really, really good way globally, working with some amazing companies for the technology side. So we're talking to him about how we can integrate what he does, how we can help each other. Again, all of these people that we met, safe to say, every single one of them, they all really, really loved the project. They liked what we were doing. They liked what we've been doing. They liked where we were going. They were very enthusiastic. They want to support us. They want to help us. It was just from the connections there. It was excellent. It was really, really, really good. I mean, do you want to add a couple of other bits in, Simon? I mean, we met so many people. We've just started putting a spreadsheet together of all the people we met and what we need to do. There was people involved. We met young guys at an after-dinner event in a penthouse who other people running metaverses who want us to put stuff into their metaverses.
They run meta mansions, by the way. Those guys,
yeah, and a guy who's one of his best mates is one of the senior editors for the Daily Mail. They want us to run private comedy shows for their real estate events and get us a piece in the Daily Mail. So it was just phenomenal what happened. It was really good. But yeah, Simon, any other bits? I mean, I've just gone top line there on the connections that we made and meetings that we've got coming up.
Well, I don't think you can understate the value of the connections that we made. Literally hundreds of people. You know, that's without going into all the other projects that were there, because obviously I went round every single booth and made connections and offered to run events with them, and there's other people running other metaverses that we're getting involved with, and they want to run comedy shows. Pretty much everybody obviously wants to run a collaborative event with us. So, you know, although it was a smaller event there, I think there was about 4,000 people there on the first day, about the same on the second, and a bit less on the Sunday because, well, the Sunday morning was quiet just because everybody in Miami was out partying till God knows what o'clock. But, you know, I was very privileged to get an hour speaking with Anthony Delorio, and once he got talking to us, he got so into the conversation that he you know, being a virtual celebrity in crypto as one of the founders of Ethereum, I did ask him for his seed phrase, but he wasn't coughing it up. But he literally started talking about decentralizing the nodes, because the next issue that they see is centralization of crypto itself, because obviously a lot of it is hosted on AWS, which is by no means decentralized. So he was telling me about his company called Decentral, and how they're moving forward with a project to distribute nodes to individual people around the world to decentralize, you know, the transactions on ETH and other chains and those that sit on top of it. So that project is called Andiami, which is a literal translation of "we all go together," I think it means. But they are rolling that out. They're creating a whitelist at the moment. They've got 65,000 people on their whitelist. And he was literally, people were coming up and tapping him on the shoulder, obviously trying to get his attention all the time. And the conversation that Jorge and I were having with him was, obviously he was getting so into it, he was just batting people away, you know, literally just swatting them off. And we managed to get over an hour with him. So, and we then went and met him the next day, because he invited us to meet him when he came off stage. And we had another probably 15-20 minutes with him chatting, and I did pitch the joke project to him, and he let me pitch it to him, which was amazing. And the feedback was great of what we were doing. So, you know, that's not an insignificant connection to have made.
It's not. And Simon, just tell people, I think it was after a day and a half, one of the guys from another stand came over to you after a lot of people had passed. And what feedback did he give you? Which I thought this was really good for another person with another stand with another project to come over and say what they did. Just tell everybody.
Yeah, like a guy from, there was a project there. I don't know what it was called, King Game something or other, right? And it wasn't one that I'd heard of. And he came up to us and he said, "What are you guys doing? Literally everyone who comes to my booth is talking about your project." So, you know, we must have made a good impression, because for people to then go and talk to other people about it was great. You know, it was great feedback that people were enjoying what we've built, you know, as a community, what we've built as a project, and obviously what we're going to do next, because it's been really hard to get through I suppose you can call it a bit of a crypto winter.
Yeah. I think also, Simon, what was really nice, and I think this is a credit to everybody involved. Obviously, we were there with the booth and we were representing Joke and a couple of other associated projects, but we had the T-shirts done, and you know, we had 10 people helping. There was 10 people in total. We had other people come from other parts of the States. They'd come down off their own backs. They were wearing the T-shirts. They were going around handing stuff out. They were talking to people. They were helping out on the booth. They were helping out generally at the exhibition centre. They were helping out in lots of other ways. You know, like Domingo's wife came and she was helping in the, you know, everywhere. And Heidi and Katrina and Antoine and Dan and Gianna. So I think we're very fortunate that we have the connections and I'd say the love of the projects in general, that people were there to help out. And I think it was pretty humbling, because you then looked at other projects that were there and they'd got one or two people. If they were lucky, they'd got three or four. But most stands only had 2 people, 3 people, and I think we were overrunning the event a little bit, because there was like loads of people just running around handing stuff out and wearing t-shirts. Antoine put stickers on all the cars, didn't he? He just blitzed everything on the last 2 days. He was brilliant. So I think that says a lot about how the support that we do get, and I think it was really humbling and really good.
Well, to say there was a little bit of money flying around, wasn't there? Out there.
Understatement. Yeah, understatement.
Yeah.
And I think we've got in front of a few people who've got a few quid, or know people who have. So it was really good. So a couple of other things, and we can't get into too much detail, and you will understand why. We are looking to kind of take on board this other comedy project that's faded out. I will update people as and when I know. That might take a bit of time. The other thing that we're aiming to do, we are aiming to run the comedy festival in June. I'm not going to give too many details yet. It will be in multiple metaverses, but it is dependent on something happening next week, so we can then put the foot to the gas, so to speak. So that's all I'll say at the moment on that festival. In terms of comedy shows, I've got some more stuff to book in, but I have been away, and I've got to rejig some of the marketing stuff. You've all seen the new graphics, so there's quite a bit of work to do there this week. It's obviously been a bank holiday, and we've got back partway through that from Miami, so please bear with us with some of those updates. The big thing is that we've had several meetings over the last couple of months with a particular person who runs a particular project, and it takes time. Now, we actually met somebody out in Miami who knows him really well. In fact, this person put us in touch with this guy in Miami, and we heard what this person was like, and it made sense why things have taken a bit of time to get where they have. But
you're talking about.
I'm not going out. Simon's going on his own just for practical reasons. Simon's going out to a part of Europe next Monday and Tuesday to meet this particular chief exec, to become him and his project partners with us in the Joke project that will have a significant impact. We're playing with the big boys and people who have got money, people who know people, and we got introduced to them in Miami, and it's a really big deal. Now, we sent over a proposal to him. We did allude to this before Miami. It didn't get to Miami, unfortunately, but we had a meeting with him whilst we were there via Zoom. He was very happy generally. In fact, we were quite surprised what he said to the proposal, because he wanted us to take one thing out that was actually beneficial to him, which we've done. And Simon's now going to see him next week to try and get that signed, sealed, delivered over the line. And that will have a big impact on a lot of things in a really, really positive way, from a PR perspective, from a tech perspective, from a show's perspective, from a metaverse perspective, from everything perspective. And it will be beneficial to everybody involved in the project and all of you here. But we can't really say much more. Simon, I mean, do you want to allude to a bit more maybe, and add a bit of flesh to that?
No.
I thought you might say that. I think that's as far as we can go with it, because it is confidential, and we do have to get that signed.
For the risk of letting the cat out of the bag, we can't do that, because if I tell you where I'm going, somebody might put 2 and 2 together and make 6.
Yeah.
And then but when I'm the people that I'm talking to have a direct line of communication to boards of directors at global companies that you all will have heard of in the space, that's about as close as I can go at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they will be coming on in a significant way, so it's a really big deal. I think Simon and I privately are 99.9% confident that it will happen. It's just got to be signed, sealed, and delivered. Iron a few things out, but there's absolutely no reason why it shouldn't happen, Simon, because we've already had all the conversations. It's just a question of it getting sorted now. So we decided when we were in Miami as a team, that it would be better if we could see him face to face. So that decision's been taken, and Simon's going out next week. So the AMA next week will just be me. There will probably not be a great deal to update because Simon will be having that meeting with that said person at that very time when it's the AMA. So
well, let's manifest it up because it's exactly this time next week.
it is. So I'm going to be sat there on the AMA going, I've got no news, folks, and I'm going to be watching my WhatsApp messages like glue in case Simon messages me.
Well, you never know. It is set for. It's a 3-hour meeting that's booked in from 2 p.m. till 5 p.m. right, and that's European time, so they're an hour ahead of us, right? Yeah, they're an hour ahead of us, so the meeting will start at 3 p.m. our time. So you never know, if it's done in an hour and a half, 2 hours, I might be able to, you never know, get on and give you some news. But we'll try. We'll do our best to get that to. But if it takes me longer, I will be schmoozing. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll be waiting for the telephone call from Simon. So yeah, it's good, and it's all positive. And I think just to reiterate, 2 years we've been at this. We've made mistakes. We've done some really good things. Some things have not happened that we wanted to always happen, but we've always tried to make as many things happen as possible. And I think what Miami did for me, it validated what we were trying to do. It rubber stamped what we were trying to do because, without being too blunt, we sit in the UK, me and Simon from the north of England. You all get what we're trying to do, but a lot of other people don't. And when you're surrounded by people with the kind of eye-watering money or insight or knowledge that we were in Miami, because it is pretty much the main place for NFTs and crypto, certainly in the States, if not the world, it was, when you got people going, yeah, get it, brilliant, really good, how can we help? It did validate, like I've said, everything that we're trying to do. And what's interesting, Dan was saying that he was there last year and he said half of the projects minimum went to the wall, don't exist anymore, that were exhibited last year in terms of NFTs and crypto projects. And the fact that we're still going does say an awful lot. And a lot of people were saying, we've done well to ride this out the way we're doing it. We're doing all the right things. We're good not to rush the token relaunch. We're doing right to do what we're trying to do with these other partners because some of these people knew them. So, for example, the wallet guy, who is amazing, a real character, the one who bought us the mojitos and tomahawk steak, he knows this particular person Simon's seeing next week really well. And he said, this guy is as good as you're going to get. He spoke very, very highly of him. And, the connections that will flow out of all of these people that we've met will just, they'll multiply 10 times. Each one of these people can probably put us in touch with a whole bundle of other people who can help take the project forward. And I think the realization, and we have said this several times, that Simon and I needed to get to more things. It's just not always been practical. And, but we are starting to get there now. And I think it was an exceptional trip and absolutely worth it. And here's the man, Antoine.
Antoine, you can tell everybody about how amazing the area was we stopped in. How good was our B&B?
Yeah, we stayed at Bang Bang Central.
Bang Bang Central.
We stayed in an amazing area where gunshots were all day long.
I think you said you is in the hood.
I was in the hood and I'm black. I was scared. I was terrified.
It was, my missus looked up the area once that you know what she did? She did find my iPhone on my phone to see where I was stopping. And then she looked up the reviews on the area and there was a drive-by shooting in the road next door a week before. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
Yeah. So, hey, we had fun.
Yeah,
we
managed to stay. We managed to stay alive. Everybody got home, and it was a great trip, a great networking. But the area was pretty nice. We weren't at the house that much anyway, so
No,
We lived.
no, and we didn't attend any of the parties that were going on in the road.
Not any black parties.
No, no block parties. No, definitely not.
We're
Yeah,
not gonna say what happened. We're just gonna have an inside joke with me and Simon.
yeah, we're not allowed. We're not allowed to say what happened. But Antoine and I
No,
had
we're not.
we had we had a laugh, didn't we?
We had a laugh for hours on that one. That was funny.
Hey, but look, Miami's where it's at. There was loads going on. And it wasn't just the event; it was the parties afterwards. I know everyone says, "Oh, you're having fun at these parties." That's where all the connections were made. You know, Andy told you about the guy that I met from Mastercard. You've missed one of the really important people out, Andy, because I'll tell people about that as well. But the guy from Mastercard is the head of blockchain for Mastercard Global. And he just got talking to me about crypto, the state of the industry, what's happening, what happens next. And one of the questions I had for him was, so when are you guys going to integrate fiat straight into the blockchain and allow people to buy Bitcoin using MasterCard? And he said, well, if you sign an NDA with me, we can have a meeting and we'll have a chat. So we are going to do that. But the other person that you missed off, Andy, was the guy, I don't know whether you got to speak to him, but he was the head of crypto reporting and news globally for Bloomberg.
Yes, he came over. We got introduced to him.
Right, yeah.
This was amazing.
But he got so into the conversation that he's the head of it. He wants to introduce us to his two sub-writers who write globally for Bloomberg on crypto, so that we can talk, you know, and feed stories in and bylines and just get to know them. And you never know where that leads to.
Well, that's amazing PR for us. So yeah, really good. I'd forgotten about him, Simon. Yeah.
Yeah,
because I thought he was the bald guy. I thought, oh god, this guy knows his shizzle. He's going to give us a grilling, and his body language. But actually, he really liked what we were doing, and it was great. And that Mastercard guy just kept bringing people over and over again and again and again. And every time he walked, did you notice, Simon? Every time you walked past him, he did the fist punch all the time.
Oh yeah,
he loved us. Don't know why.
He really did like us, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but to be fair, there was a lot of projects there that were pretty. Well, I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not going to talk any particular ones down. Apart
crap.
From,
it was super crap.
Apart from the banana guy, I didn't understand what was going on there. There was a guy who put NFTs on bananas, and he just, I don't know whether he was interested or not, because he was like there for half the time. So
he was there for a couple of half hours each day. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was.
One thing I want to say is we had the best project in the entire building, and they had people that was doing celebrities with NFTs, and they could even Timbaland was their music producer. He couldn't even explain what the NFT did. He just, I don't know. So it's our project is the #1 project in the world. As soon as we get funding, the world will see.
Amen to that. That is the truth, because it really opens your eyes to what is out there. You know, like the guys from Meta Mansions. You know, they were fair enough. That's a really good project, and we got invited to go and meet them and met them in the penthouse and made a load more connections there. Group of young guys, all, you know, how much money were they raising, Andy? Oh my God. They just raised...
They raised $10 million in
31 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was
and
for...
the one dude had the NFT with the sneakers. You could rent the sneakers out. Remember that guy? Yeah.
Yeah. Antoine, you nearly rented out a pair of those sneakers, didn't you?
To run away from where we were staying.
She really did run away from where we were staying.
No, I'm telling you, no, you didn't want to run away from where we were staying, because you'd be dodging bullets all down the street.
Man, when I first pulled up, and the Uber driver, he like hurry up and try to throw my bags out. He was trying to get them over there. He passed the place and kept driving. I said, man, why here? He's like, oh, hurry up, get your bag. I gotta go.
Yeah, but look, we made a whole bunch of new friends, some some lifelong, what I'm sure will turn out to be lifelong friendships. We met
Yeah.
so many people that just loved the project, are going to help us. We're going to help them as well. We just need the market to come to us a little bit more. I know Antoine is talking about this bull run that's about to happen. I'm not so sure, Antoine, at the moment. It's
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, I guess like top experts are saying. So like the people that I follow on Instagram and YouTube, they've been pretty much on point on their thing. But I could be wrong. It's a 50-50 chance. But I just don't see it continue to keep saying over and over again. So maybe not.
The only issue I've got with it, because I was watching Bloomberg this morning, because a lot of the people on here will know that Andy and I trade Forex, as you do as well, and indices. And I was watching Bloomberg this morning, and they were going on about Bitcoin breaking through 30k. And then on the other hand, they said, but there's no volume. Right, they don't understand why it's gone up over the last 3 or 4 days, and particularly yesterday, with next to no trading volume, which is just odd. There's something
in comparison to what it's been before, yeah.
Yeah, there's something very, very odd going on in the background, but and without bringing doom and gloom into it, because we're having a party post Miami. You've still got you've got China cruising round Taiwan, and Putin mucking about in Ukraine, and still like lots of you've got bad news in the tech sector, etc. Like with Apple shipping far less units than they have been. It's brewing. There's something still brewing for me. So I'm still sat on the sidelines as in terms of whether there's any sort of bull run coming on. I think we're going to see we might see a decent push up, but it just worries me that there's no volume behind it. There's none of the real big players. All the whales are sat on the sideline, and somebody that we trust to trade, and this is somebody who trades a $300 million account, said to me openly, if you're going to go buying Bitcoin, you do exactly the opposite of whatever the market thinks it's doing. So I'll trust that guy over a few YouTubers at the moment, and I'm trusting my gut. I'm going with my gut, and I'm staying out of it at the moment. So I just can still see one colossal dump before we really get the all of the decks cleared. If you see what I mean, there's still a lot of shitcoin projects out there I think need to go, to move on to where we've got a load of the legit projects, and that's where we are. We just, as soon as we get this right and I sign this deal next week, we'll be looking at running this comedy festival. I've got to tie up which week that's going to be. That's part of the discussion, but that will be, touch wood, in June. So,
well, the thing is, Simon, when that gets signed next week, when it gets signed, we'll actually be able to go to a lot of the bigger comedy clubs and people that we've been talking to and encourage them to be part of it, because they can see that what's going on. So I think it's always been a bit chicken and egg for the project in many ways, but I think this will change it. Well, it will change it, because the confidence will go through the roof, and it'll be really good.
Well, one very smart man said to me in Miami, the only thing that you are missing at the moment is just the final proof of concept, as in show revenue generated from comedy shows and show revenue being paid out to token holders and NFT holders, right? And obviously to comedians, clubs, charities, and the project, right? Just show that. And once you've got that MVP and revenue, that's when people really do start paying attention. So that's the only piece of the puzzle we're missing.
Yeah.
We have the mechanism to do it now, and we have the person and persons involved that can make that happen just by clicking their fingers. I've just got to go and sign that deal next week. So, I would have loved to have signed the deal in Miami, but unfortunately the guy couldn't make it because of family commitments. So now I'm going to fly out to Europe and meet him. But in principle, it's agreed over a Zoom meeting. So it's just now going, shake hands, make sure it's done, all written up, and boom, there we go.
Yeah. And I think that probably brings it to keep it under 45 minutes, Simon.
Yeah, unless obviously these, and I want to stress this, and I do stress it every time. These are AMAs, right?
Yes.
It's not a case of us, talk away. We'll rename these to Andy and Simon just waffle, right? You guys are the community, right? You guys are the ones that are invested time, money, um, you know, time more than anything. Turning up to these sessions every week is a big investment, and we really do appreciate everybody taking the time to do that and getting involved with the project. But please, if you've got questions, if you've got ideas, if you've got things you want us to consider, I've said it in many times before, and Andy and I have run big, decent sized marketing agencies, and I've sat in meetings with people where, people who are not close to the top of those organisations have come out with an idea, and that's led to a discussion, and that's then ended up being a national campaign, right? So it's not a case of your ideas don't matter. They absolutely do, because those are the things that will steer the project going forwards. So you guys, as our, there's quite a lot of VIPs on air. There's a couple of names I don't recognise, but if you have got questions or you've got things you want to chat to us about, please bring them to this forum and we will talk about them. Because otherwise, Andy and I just talk for an hour and we don't know whether whether the feedback is there or not. So we want you to please help and come with ideas and questions. So
yeah, and also I know Robin's on. She sent me some messages whilst I was in Miami over a couple of bits of things that I'd missed and put to one side and all that stuff. And thank you for that. I noticed you, because I've just had to sign back into Discord. It kicked me out for a couple of days. That you sent another message. I will look at it, and yeah, we will. I know I've said it before, and I put my hands up. One of the challenges we have is sometimes Simon and I managing certain things, and we sometimes don't always get things sorted straight away because we're waiting on other things that have a knock-on effect. But I am aware there's certain items that need addressing and sorting out. So again, we can't always move quick because we are a small team, but any feedback is welcome. And like I said, Robin, thanks for what you spotted. I will get that sorted over the next few days. I'm playing a bit of catch up after Miami and getting a few other things sorted, because we have to plan out quite a bit of stuff still for this meeting for next week, even though contractually it's fine pretty much. These details around the shows, the comedy festival, some of the inner workings of how all that's going to work that still needs to be put pen to paper and fleshed out a little bit more. So we have got a very, very busy week. But I do think that once that's done next week, it will be foot to the floor. There'll be a lot of stuff that needs doing. And I will be reaching out to a couple of people over various items. But yeah, please do tell us if you spot anything or you see anything or you think of anything. And I would also say still, if anybody knows any comedy clubs or people who want to perform, that festival will be open to anybody who wants to perform in some ways, whether you're rich or famous or poor and starting out. We want to make that festival as inclusive for everybody as possible. I'd love to be able to run it so that you've got somebody unknown from Bournemouth in the UK performing an hour before somebody who's famous in the US or vice versa. I want it to be really open to different levels, different types of comedy, because that's the whole point of it, is to be the world's the first biggest festival in comedy. And we want everybody from all over the world to participate in that.
Just going back to the volume on Bitcoin for 1 second, right? Tell me how this doesn't add up, because obviously the price moved up significantly overnight. This time last week, the volume on Bitcoin was averaging $500 million a day, right? Yesterday, 57. So that does not fit with a massive hike in price.
No.
Right? Something is afoot. Something is going on that doesn't feel right. So let's just be mindful and careful.
You're right about that.
It's not just Bitcoin either. That I saw something earlier where about 8 of the projects had quite big pumps, and then when you looked at the volume, you're thinking, How can that be? The volume was ridiculously low. I think XRP had, was it 1.8 million over the last 24 hours or something? But it had a massive price shift because of it. It doesn't add up. Something's not quite right. So it's not just Bitcoin, it's a few of them.
So we'll see how that plays out. It'll be fun to watch, I'm sure, over the next few weeks. But we'll be on the other side of all of that, and there's going to be a bit of a washout, I think. We'll see.
Cool. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, as always.
All right, mate.
As always, questions, please bring questions. Right? That's otherwise I really do get fed up repeating myself, and I know you guys want to hear what happened to Miami.
Yeah.
The next couple of weeks there'll be big announcements coming, but it's the weeks that follow that when we do have to go into a bit of a holding pattern. Let's keep this community active with questions and things that you guys want to know. So
I would also say there might be quite a few more new people coming into the community as well. And with the best intention in the world, it can't be everywhere all the time. But if you see somebody new coming into the community, please hold their hands and say hi to them, because I think there probably will be. I know that's already happened with a few people from Miami, but I expect that to happen a lot more over the coming weeks, particularly after next Tuesday. I think there'll be a whole load more people come into our Discord channel.
Yeah, so please, that's a really good point. Let's welcome all these people in, make sure that they understand what's going on, show them what they need to know, get them to come to the AMAs, because I think hopefully the AMA is probably the best hour of the week that they can spend if they want to understand the project. And then there'll be a lot of other projects that we'll be collaborating with, and we can then go off and take over their spaces for a bit. There's a load of stuff going on. There's tons of stuff we haven't even talked about, Andy. So
I know there is.
Yeah.
There's so many things that need to happen, but it's all really, really positive. So yeah, cracking stuff.
Cool. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for coming. We do appreciate you all, and we will, keep your fingers crossed for me next week. That's all we got to do.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
You're going to make it. It's going to happen.
Oh, it's absolutely going to happen, Antoine. It's already, barring,
It's already here.
Yeah, barring something, unforeseen, that will be massive for us. So, yeah, let's reconvene next week. Andy will be here. Hopefully, I'll have some news by then. If not, it'll be the week after. So,
Man, I'm excited. I'm just telling you.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you.